Hey there folks, it's Yat Kean here from Trend Grounds. Now, in this review video, I'm featuring the Redmi 12, which is already available in the Malaysian market. So for those who are still actually trying to look for an entry-level smartphone in Malaysia, this is definitely one of the options you can choose from as well, because it is offering in two variants as well. The first one, 4 gigs of RAM and 128 gigabytes of internal storage. That costs 599 ringgit Malaysia. Meanwhile, this review unit here is the 8 gigs of RAM and 256 gigabytes of internal storage, would cost 699 ringgit Malaysia. And I think the price point here is pretty good for those who wants an affordable smartphone, and also comes with 3 color options to choose from. The first one is the midnight black, and the next one sky blue, and for this review you need the polar silver. Now coming back to the design of this phone, so Xiaomi has stated that this device actually has some premiumness added onto it. The first thing you can notice is the glass back cover over here, which is using a Corning Gorilla Glass. And I will have to say, yes, it does feel sturdy, but there's a downside onto it. It's a little bit slippery. So be careful when you are putting this phone on the edge of something that is quite easy to slip off, like on the couch or on a leather surface or something. Yeah, just be careful. It will slip out quite easily. Now, the next premium feature they have added onto it, especially on the design area, is the IP53 rating. So you do have some water and dust protection over here, which is good. Being at the price point over here, it's very hard to get a phone that has IP rating, and this Redmi 12 has it. Apart from that, Xiaomi also used an all-new infinite camera design over here. I kind of like it, but it does look very similar to other competition out there that is offered in 2023. Yeah, so not sure why. I think there's like an alliance of this camera bump design layout right now in the market, which is quite a lot. And yeah, funny to think that everybody is coming out almost similar design, like there's 3 cameras over here. And moving along, let's talk about the other parts of the camera design as well. Now on the right side over here, you have a volume rocker with the power button / fingerprint scanner. Yes. And on the top, you have the 3.5mm headphone jack with the IR blaster over here. The SIM card slot is on the top left of the device. And at the bottom, you get the microphone with the USB Type-C charging port over here that supports 18-watt fast charging, and a speaker grill. Overall, I think the design here is going to strike a lot of those mass users who are looking for an attractive entry-level smartphone. So you don't necessarily going to get a dull smartphone design here, and I think Xiaomi has nailed it properly for the Redmi 12 here. Now let's talk about the performance on this Redmi 12. Powering it is the MediaTek Helio G88 chipset. Now this chipset is pretty fine for day-to-day usage and light productivity. For those who want to use this device for mobile gaming, yes, it's still able to serve your needs in the gaming department, but for heavy game titles such as the Genshin Impact, yeah, try not to push the settings too much. Just keep it on the lower settings at 30 frames per second, and you will be able to play it quite well. And for those light gaming titles, yeah, they actually perform quite well on this device. Now let's talk about the cameras on the Redmi 12. Start off with the photography. So the 50 megapixel main camera sensor actually captures really nice shot during bright daylight sessions. You won't going to complain too much, but my nitpick definitely is the photos tend to be a little bit overexposed because they wanted to make the photo look bright. I understand that, but if you want something looks a little bit true to life, lower the exposure on the main camera. And the low light photography for the main camera, I will have to say is average at best, because there's a lot of noises being emitted onto it. You can use the night mode to enhance it or use the flash. The night mode is actually solely available on the main camera only, so you can't use it on the ultra wide. But the night mode shots being taken with the main camera, I still notice that there are some noises and artifacts happening. So unfortunately on that case, meanwhile for the 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, it is best to use during the brightly lit condition area. Yeah, you are definitely going to capture nice shot when you are capturing with great lighting condition. In low light condition, again, too much noises on the photos. Meanwhile, there's also a 2 megapixel macro camera on this device. I would say it's not really impressive, but if you want to share it on your social media, do so. The macro shots are not really advised to be zoomed in, because it's not going to look very nice when it is being like doing some zoom crop with the 2 megapixel macro camera over here. Meanwhile, for the 8 megapixel selfie camera, I would highly say that this selfie camera works quite well to my surprise. And brightly lit areas selfies from the front facing camera, they look really nice. And even in low light situation, they still look nice as well. Now for videography on the Redmi 12, the front and the rear cameras can capture up to 1080p 30 frames per second video. Now the video from the main camera definitely does its job. Not bad, I would say, but not great either. And for the ultra wide camera, you really need to have good lighting condition. Meanwhile, the selfie camera, same as well. You really need to have good lighting condition, because if not, there will be noises appearing onto it. But my main gripe on the videography is definitely the mic. Now this video is being shot with the selfie camera on the Redmi 12 in 1080p 30 frames per second. This is the quality and the audio. What do you think about it? And let's simulate. I'm actually shaking a little bit. How is the stabilization? What do you think? Now let's talk about the display and the audio department for the Redmi 12. Starting with the display, it is actually using a 6.79 inches LCD display over here, and it has up to 550 nits peak brightness. Supports 90 Hz refresh rate. I think it's actually quite sufficient for most users. Now my only issue for the display is definitely the auto brightness doesn't work quite well sometimes. Yeah, sometimes I do notice that during my usage of 2 weeks, it doesn't brighten up the display at all. Yeah, so sometimes you might be suffering a little bit to look onto the display, and you need to constantly manually sliding the brightness in order to help you to see clearly on the display. So that is one of the nitpick I would have to comment about the display. And also for the audio, only a bottom firing speaker doing its job, and the speakers are quite loud, but I still love to have a stereo speaker setup on this device, and then it will truly make it an entertainment on the go device. Well, let's not talk anymore and let you listen and watch how does the display actually performs. The headlamp. So this year they are actually updated it to LED headlamp. Just only the headlamp is getting the LED treatment. If you really want a better audio experience for the Redmi 12, I would highly suggest you to use the wired headphones, earbuds, or the wireless types to enhance your audio immersiveness. Let's touch on the battery department for the Redmi 12. So it's actually using a 5000 milliamp battery over here that supports 18 watt fast charging. I will have to say the battery life over here is quite good because it's actually using a lower performance chipset which doesn't consume a lot of energy from the battery, and that is a plus point. Definitely you can try to use it around 1 to 1.5 days of usage with this device, but if you're a heavy user, yeah, you're gonna definitely going to charge it a little bit much more sooner. And for the 18 watt fast charging, I would have to say it's just okay, but you still need to wait quite a while to fully fill it if you're charging at somewhere around the region of 0 to 20% battery percentage. Overall, I think the Redmi 12 is a solid entry-level smartphone you can get in 2023, especially in the Malaysian market. Price from 599 ringgit Malaysia, it really covers all your necessity. And yeah, the phone is not going to be perfect. You will have some nitpick, but if you can overlook onto it, I think this is a really solid device. My recommendation for this device is for those young students, the young kids, or perhaps your parents who doesn't want to spend too much on a new smartphone. This is a perfect choice for you. And even for young working adults, it is sufficient enough to meet your requirements in terms of light productivity as well. And mobile gamers, yeah, you can place esport titles onto it, but do not push it too much playing heavy game titles. And my rating for this device, it will be a solid 7 out of 10. Yeah. So special shout out thanks to Xiaomi Malaysia for providing this review sample unit. However, there is no cash compensation for the reviews. Therefore, there's no editorial input, no final approval is required. So Xiaomi Malaysia and the audience are watching at the same time when this video is being uploaded. So hopefully you guys are aware, and also this review is being done after 2 weeks of experiencing it. So hopefully you guys learn about that. And I'm about to sign off, but before that, one last selfish request. If you're still new to the YouTube channel, please go ahead, subscribe, follow us on social media, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.